Five Nights at Freddy's is such a popular series that there are bound to be plenty of references in other games, especially from indie games, but those references can have greater implications if you really stop to think about it. Today we explore some of those cases as we count down the games that might have inserted themselves into FNAF canon, or a FNAF canon. Greetings gamers and welcome back to Top 10 Gaming. I'm Connor Monroe and this is the Top 10 Scary FNAF Game Connections. Let's do it. And at 10, Baby's Nightmare Circus. Baby's Nightmare Circus is a FNAF fan game based on Sister Location, with the latest version releasing about 3 years ago by GameJolt user Mixless. The game has over 739,000 views and over 5,000 followers. The game contains a slew of Nightmare versions of the Sister Location animatronics, including but not limited to Nightmare Baby, Nightmare Ballora, Nightmare Ennard, Mr. Afton, Baby Geist, Nightmare Funtime Freddy, Nightmare Funtime Foxy, and the Wizards. A couple of new ones in there as well. Mr. Afton, being the most notable one, is a secret antagonist whose night is unlocked by beating night 5 and clicking on his picture in the old book. His appearance is similar to the interior endoskeleton of Springtrap, so it still makes sense with the story even if it's a slight deviation. The Wizards is just a name for a group of Nightmare animatronics that make up the original game, so Baby, Funtime Freddy, Funtime Foxy, and Ballora. Baby Geist is the main antagonist of the game and is unlocked by completing all minigames and defeating Nightmare Ennard during End Night, similar to how Pizza Party is unlocked in FNAF AR, but her appearance and mechanics will have to be discovered on your own. I think it's fairly obvious how this is connected to FNAF. And at 9, Henry Stickmin. Henry Stickmin seems like the furthest thing from FNAF, right? Well, aside from being an indie game that blew up and got its creator a load of cheddar, since Innersloth then proceeded to make a bank off Among Us and the remastered Henry Stickmin collection, especially from me. However, these two franchises are closer than you think. In fleeing the complex, Freddy Fazbear himself actually makes an appearance in the presumed dead ending. After Henry escapes the alerted guards and hides in a dark building, Freddy appears in the darkness with glowing eyes and mouth, similar to the secret jump scare from FNAF VR's Pizza Party minigame. The game also plays Torador March, Freddy's famous jump scare song from the first game that would play whenever you ran out of power while Freddy's eyes and mouth were flashing. I also like this scene. Maybe it's not like FNAF VR. You then get a game over screen talking about how that wasn't scary, and then you get a very quick jump scare just to let Freddy know that you were never safe. Or just so that Freddy lets you know you were never safe. This would have just been an Easter egg until FNAF AR, where we find out that animatronics can just be shipped to your house. So this could just have been one that escaped. So boom! Instant lore connection. And at 8, Spooky's Jump Scare Mansion. In Spooky's Jump Scare Mansion, things start off well. They aren't scary and the game just gives you a cupcake and says boo. But eventually, things get scarier. At one point, there is a room based on the FNAF office, with a chair, table, fan, and a phone. In this same spot, there is a guy's voice that plays from the phone that will say hello in different tones, as well as occasionally warning you not to look directly at the fan, because we know that the fan is the scariest animatronic. The Unknown Specimen 2 from the game is also a reference to FNAF animatronics, due to its alternative name Otto the Otter, and that it has a similar design to the toy animatronics. Boom! Another game added to the FNAF multiverse. And at 7, I Love You to Bits. I Love You to Bits is a mobile point-and-click adventure game where you navigate through various levels. One of these levels is a house. This house is spooky, with very few lights, a creepy tree with no leaves on the outside, and some shadows that will make it look twice. However, if you go up to the attic, you will find a Freddy Fazbear just at the end of a ladder. It's hard to see and will definitely take a little looking, especially if you aren't up there with your candle, but as you can see from this picture, he is there clear as day. It's very clearly Freddy and not anyone else. I don't think he eats you or attacks you in any way, but it's still a nice little Easter egg from a lesser known or not known game. I hadn't heard of this game until I was writing this list, so it's pretty cool to say the least. And at 6, Deltarune. In Deltarune, there is an Icy's Pizza area that acts as this universe's version of Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, or Chuck E. Cheese, with Ice-E's bear-like presence strongly resembling that of Freddy Fazbear. When speaking with Burger Pants, who is a character outside the restaurant, he will straight up name drop Purple Guy when describing the purple dinosaur wearing Icy's mask, saying, "Purple Guy. Man, that guy? You gotta... Actually, does that guy even work here?" Which is kind of ironic that it's a purple dinosaur, since that's also probably a reference to Barney. Isn't there a theory that like Barney eats the souls of kids or something like that? I mean, it would make sense because honestly I'm getting some pretty creepy Barney vibes. Plus it would also explain why my parents didn't let me watch Barney. Yeah, it was legit banned in my house. Halfway through, and at number 5, Pixel Gun 3D. Pixel Gun 3D is another mobile game I didn't know about until this list, but it also has a Five Nights at Freddy's reference hidden in one of the many levels. Actually, I don't think that it's hidden. The levels of Terrifying Resort, Scary Pizzeria, and Area during Wave 5 are full of enemies referencing or directly ripped from the Five Nights series, most notably Terrifying Fox, who is just straight up ripped from the game, using an identical texture pretty much, like if Foxy was a Minecraft skin. Terrifying Bunny is also basically a rundown Bonnie, just with like rundown being like a loose term here, he's just missing the left forearm. There's also the Terrifying Duck that's meant to be Chica, and the Terrifying Bear, which honestly resembles Nightmare more than normal Freddy Fazbear. These animatronics also appear in the Scary Pizzeria level, which is just the FNAF 1 location. It literally uses pretty much the same textures on all the floors, tables, party hats, walls. It's actually pretty insane. There's also a Balloon Boy animatronic literally called Balloon Boy, who wears a green shirt and a hat and is taller than the Balloon Boy we know and love. And at 4, One Night at Flumpty's. One Night at Flumpty's is one of the series being brought back thanks to the FNAF Fanverse initiative, which basically confirms it, whether it's in its own universe or in the same universe as the main FNAF canon. It could be its own, but considering how a couple of the other games being brought back reference the Fazbear establishment, it's at least confirmed that there will at least be a version of the FNAF we know in the universe that this game takes place in, if it's not the main one. I predicted this a long time ago, and I'm pretty damn proud of myself. I forget when I predicted it. It was like the first time we started doing FNAF stuff last year. I think it was in like some theories list or something, or maybe some fan game list, because we talked about Joy Creation and stuff. Anyway, the game being brought back by the initiative will be One Night at Flumpty's 3, which is exciting for all the Flumpty fans. The One Night at Flumpty's series was created by Jonochrome on Game Jolt, and the series has had 3 games to this point, including One Night at Flumpty's, One Night at Flumpty's 2, and One Week at Flumpty's. One Night at Flumpty's 3 will be the 4th game in the series, which is kinda confusing, but like that's how they're putting it together. I don't know timeline stuff, okay? I'm not doing that. Getting close to the end in number 3, Pop Goes. Pop Goes is another game being backed by the Fazbear Fanverse initiative, and the game being backed, Pop Goes Evergreen, was announced April 1st of 2020 and is a full reboot to the original game. The Pop Goes series has had plenty of games, 4 to be exact. Pop Goes Arcade, Pop Goes Arcade 2016, and Pop Goes Arcade 2. Not to mention several cancelled games, such as Pop Goes Reprinted, Pop Goes Silent Night, Pop Goes Finale, Pop Goes 2, and Pop Goes Encore. Pop Goes is starting to sound really weird now. With Scott's backing officially getting the Pop Goes series the boot that it needed to get things going. The series contains 59 animatronics, with some being from the original FNAF series, but with new additions like Blake the Badger, Black Rabbit, Cody the Coyote, Owen the Owl, Epitome Pop Goes the Weasel, and many more. This series has multiple versions of animatronics at some points, with Menorah the Mouse having 2016 and 2020 versions, probably because the game was moved to a different engine allowing for better models. This is going to be nuts! But with the original characters in there, confirmed connection to FNAF, aside from the whole being backed by Scott Cawthon himself thing. And at 2, Joy of Creation. Out of all the FNAF fan games, the Joy of Creation has to be the scariest, for me. In this game, you play as Scott Cawthon, trying to escape the monsters he's created that are mad at you for ending the series. That's probably why Scott is still making so many games, so this doesn't happen. The original game only had a survival mode that just had you surviving for as long as possible before getting jump scared by one of the new ignited animatronics, which are incredibly rundown and burnt versions of the original or withered animatronics. I also find this game to be important lore-wise, since the game takes place in our universe, this Earth, and Scott decided to back it. Originally, when this game was released in 2015, it seemed ridiculous that animatronics from the video game could escape into the real world. However, now, in the FNAF series, that's canon. It can happen. William is trying to do that in Security Breach. He's trying to escape the video game that he trapped himself in. And FNAF World was all about games affecting the outside world. Not as far-fetched as it once was, am I right? The game getting backed is the Joy of Creation Ignited Collection, which is a remake and combination of previous Joy of Creation game modes, like the original game, Joy of Creation Reborn, and Story Mode, remade with new assets, new gameplay, new everything. Finally, in at number 1, Five Nights at Candy's. Probably the most popular FNAF fan game, Five Nights at Candy's is also joining the Fazbear Fanverse initiative along with The Last Four Numbers and FNAF Plus, a remake of the first FNAF game, by a fan. Five Nights at Candy's 4 is the official installment of the FNAF series and will be ported to consoles along with the previous games in the series as well, with the possibility of mobile ports also in the future. FNAF 4 is only a working title since the actual title hasn't been announced yet, but Forgotten Candy is confirmed to be the main antagonist of the game. The game will also be released on GameJolt for free, so no need to be worried about a price tag unless it's for console. Since the FNAF series starts after Freddy Fazbear's Pizza closes down after FNAF 2, we have the most canonically possible game in the series of fan games being brought to a FNAF universe. It is unknown if these games will take place in the same universe as the main canon or in their own universe, with FNAF Plus being that version's FNAF. But given the title of the project, the Fazbear Fanverse Initiative, it's a safe assumption to think that they'll all take place in their own world, but they will share the same one, and that's gonna be sick. There we have it, friends, the top 10 Scary FNAF Game Connections. Which games have you played on this list, and did you catch their connection to FNAF? And are you looking forward to the Fanverse? Let me know down below. Thank you all so much for watching. I have been in Showerman Connor Monroe, and I'll see you in another video. My script says poop goes. Oh, that's an accident. That's hilarious. Poop goes. I'm such a child. Now my script says not as fart-fetched. What's with my game, or what's with my script and making childish jokes for me? I swear to God I didn't write that.